Miguel Reyes had dreamed of this moment for years. After countless applications, interviews, documents, and sleepless nights, he finally stepped out of Heathrow Airport and took his first breath of cool London air. The city stretched out before him, ancient, powerful, intimidating, yet full of opportunities. He tightened his grip on the handle of his suitcase. He whispered to himself in Filipino, "Kaya ko to, I can do this." He wasn't just a tourist. He wasn't here for a vacation. He was an OFW, an overseas Filipino worker, ready to start his new job as an IT support specialist in one of the UK's fast-growing tech companies. He imagined his daughter's smile back home in Cebu, the proud voice of his mother, the excitement of his younger siblings. He imagined helping his father finally retire from construction work. He imagined sending money home, building the house he promised, giving his family a better life. But he didn't know something. His biggest battle in the UK would not be the weather or the food or the culture. His biggest battle would be people. He entered the office building the next morning, nervous, excited, hopeful. The lobby was bright, modern. Glass walls everywhere. Digital screens. Clean white floors. He paused outside the glass doors to the IT department, took a deep breath, smiled, and walked inside. First, everyone looked up. Then they looked at each other. Then, the whispers started. "Is that the new guy? He's Filipino? Does he even speak proper English? What did they hire him for?" Miguel heard every word. He wasn't fragile, he was used to being underestimated, but this felt different. This was a place where accents mattered, where appearances were judged before skills, where stereotypes walked ahead of every person who looked like him. Still, he smiled. He nodded politely. He took his seat at the far end of the room. But the real shock came during his first team meeting. The manager, Mark, a tall man with sharp features and a sharper tongue, introduced the team. Then he turned to Miguel. "Right, Miguel, yeah? Why don't you tell everyone about yourself?" Miguel spoke clearly, confidently. "Yes, sir. My name is Miguel Reyes. I am from the Philippines. I specialize in..." But he didn't finish. Someone snickered. Someone whispered, "What did he say?" Someone else chuckled, "Bro, slow down. I don't understand Filipino English." The room filled with low laughter. Mark smirked. "Let's take it slow, mate. Speak clearly next time, yeah?" Miguel's smile faded for just a moment, but he composed himself. He had lived through tougher moments back home. Floods, late-night work shifts, corporate politics, long lines in government offices. He could handle this, but just because he could handle it doesn't mean it didn't hurt. For the next few days, the pattern continued. Every time Miguel spoke up, someone made a comment. Every time he explained something, someone twisted their face like they didn't understand. Every time he offered help, someone said, "Nah, we're good. Let the British handle it." In break rooms, they laughed at videos imitating Asian accents. In group chats, they used emojis Miguel didn't fully understand, ones that felt insulting between the lines. Behind his back, they mimicked the way he said certain words. And yet, every night, Miguel called his daughter. Every night, she asked, "Papa, how is work?" Every night, he answered the same gentle lie. "It's amazing, Anik. Papa is doing well." Because he didn't want her to worry. Because a father carries the weight alone. Because an OFW learns to swallow pain silently. But what Miguel didn't know, what the entire office didn't know, was that a storm was coming. A storm that would shake the entire company. A storm that would expose who truly had the knowledge, and who only had an accent. And when the moment arrived, every single person who laughed at him, every coworker, every supervisor, every skeptic, would realize something they never expected. The quiet Filipino they underestimated was about to outsmart them all. Miguel sat at his new desk the next morning, hoping maybe, just maybe, today would be different. But the moment he logged in, he heard the quiet snickers behind him. Liam whispered loudly enough for the whole row to hear, "Oi, look who's here, Mr. Accent. Hope the system can understand his English better than I can." Laughter. Not subtle. Not friendly. sharp, cutting, the kind that sits heavy on your chest. Miguel didn't look up. He kept typing, kept focusing. He had promised himself one thing: let them laugh, let the work speak. But that didn't stop the uncomfortable shifting in his chest. That tight feeling many OFWs know too well. The weight of being judged before being understood. As the hours passed, the team held a briefing. The conference room was modern, glass walls shining under the bright UK lights. Miguel took a seat, opened his laptop, prepared his notes. Mark, the manager, cleared his throat. "All right, team, we've got a huge project coming up. A system migration next week. High priority. High pressure." He glanced briefly at Miguel, then looked away. "We need suggestions." Oliver, the senior engineer, spoke first. Then Liam. Then two others. All predictable ideas, safe, generic textbook. Then Miguel raised his hand slowly. A few eyes rolled. Mark sighed loudly. "Yes, Miguel, go on." Miguel spoke clearly, calmly. "Sir, I've reviewed the logs and the current API structure. If we migrate using the default protocol, we risk creating a bottleneck. The best approach might be..." But Mark cut him off. "No, no, no. That's too complicated. Keep it simple." He waved his hand dismissively. Across the table, Liam chuckled. "Can't lie, mate. Half the time I don't know what he's saying." More laughter. Enough to fill the room. Enough to sting. Miguel closed his laptop slowly. Not in anger, but in resignation. No one listened. Not yet. But the twist? Everything was about to change. Slowly, silently, and it would begin with a mistake. The next day, the team ran a small pre-migration test. A simple run. A basic simulation. But halfway through the test, the system froze. Screens flickered. Warning lights flashed. Mark panicked. "What the? Why is the compression unit overloaded?" Liam shrugged, clueless. Oliver scanned through the logs, eyes narrowing. "There's a loop forming somewhere. Something we missed." Silence. Panic. The kind that shakes the room without a sound. Then Oliver said it. "We need another pair of eyes." All eyes slowly turned toward Miguel. It was the first time, the very first time, they looked at him without mockery. Oliver called out, "Miguel, come check this." Miguel approached the console slowly, knowing dozens of eyes were following every step he took. He scanned the logs, scrolled again, paused, zoomed in. Then, with calm certainty, he said, "The test used the wrong protocol. That's why the unit overloaded." Mark blinked. "But that's the protocol Liam suggested."
Miguel nodded gently.
"Yes, sir. And I mentioned yesterday that using that method could cause a bottleneck. This is the bottleneck." The room went silent. A heavy, embarrassed silence. Miguel continued, voice steady, controlled, professional. "If we don't adjust now, the full migration might cause a total system crash." Oliver turned slowly to Mark. "He's right." And for the first time, the laughter didn't come. Instead, Mark swallowed hard and said quietly, "All right, Miguel, show us." Every person leaned in, watching, listening, waiting. Miguel sat at the console, fingers gliding over the keyboard, confident, precise, sharp. In that quiet moment, something subtle changed. The room that once mocked him now relied on him, and they didn't even realize it yet. But soon, the world would. And this minor incident, this small oversight, was only the beginning of the shift that would shake the entire company. A shift triggered by the Filipino they had underestimated. The next morning, the office felt different. Not calmer, not quieter, but tense, like a storm building behind a closed window. Miguel walked in early, as he always did. The Filipino in him believed in showing up first, doing more than expected, giving your best even when no one saw it. But today, someone did. Oliver, the senior engineer, stood in the hallway with his arms crossed, watching Miguel with a curious expression. Not mocking, not judging, but studying him as if finally noticing him for the first time. Miguel logged into his workstation. typed his usual morning checks. But as he worked, he kept hearing it, the low murmurs around him. Is he the one who found the server issue yesterday? That Filipino guy? No way. Are you sure? The whispers weren't insulting now, they were uncertain, confused, the beginning of something shifting. But just as Miguel began to settle in, Mark stormed into the office. Everyone, conference room, now. Chairs pushed back. Keyboards stopped clicking. The room filled with hurried footsteps. Miguel calmly saved his work, stood up, and followed. Inside the conference room, the lights felt too bright. Screens flickered with red warnings. Server graphs spiked like heartbeats out of control. And this time, nobody was laughing. Mark slammed a folder onto the table. The system is collapsing again. The fix didn't hold. And if we don't stop this, the entire client database could be corrupted. A cold silence spread across the room. Millions of pounds are at risk. Mark continued, voice trembling with stress. We need answers. Real answers. Engineers exchanged nervous looks. Some blamed the patches. Others blamed the network. One idiot blamed the weather. But Miguel, he didn't say a word. His eyes were locked on the flickering screen in the corner. Something was off. Very off. He stepped closer, ignoring the tension, ignoring the fear, ignoring the risk of being mocked again. He traced the error logs with his eyes, line by line, code by code,
Symbol by symbol.
and then one detail made his heart stop. A small looping process, hidden deep, invisible to people who never looked closely. But not to him. Liam noticed him reading the logs and scoffed. Look at him. What does he think he's gonna find? He can't even say troubleshoot properly. Mark smirked, not even hiding the disrespect. Miguel, unless you suddenly became a senior engineer overnight, please stay back. A few people chuckled. But Oliver wasn't laughing. He stepped forward. Hold on. Let him speak. The room froze. Mark blinked in disbelief. Speak, Mark said. About what? His accent problem. Oliver didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. He simply repeated, let him speak.
Miguel inhaled softly.
Steady, controlled, heart pounding but voice calm. The loop you're seeing, it's not coming from the main patch. It's coming from a middleware script that wasn't updated. The system is fixing one part. He pointed at the red spikes, and breaking the other. The room went silent.
No jokes. No snares. No interruptions.
For the first time, they were actually listening. Mark stepped closer, squinting at the screen. That can't be right. But Oliver checked the logs himself. His eyes widened. He's right. A shockwave rippled across the room. Liam's face dropped. Mark's confidence evaporated. The other engineers muttered in disbelief. Miguel continued, voice steady but firm. The system is trying to repair itself in two different directions. One forward, one backward. That's why it keeps collapsing. Oliver stared at Miguel with newfound respect. Miguel, how long have you known this?
Miguel hesitated.
Since yesterday afternoon. Liam choked. Mark's jaw clenched. Someone whispered, no way. Why didn't you say anything? Oliver asked. Miguel lowered his eyes. I tried. And the room went silent again. The kind of silence that stings. The kind where the truth finally exposes everyone. Mark swallowed hard. For the first time, he realized the weight of his mistake. The Filipino guy he dismissed, mocked, ignored, was the only one who saw the problem clearly. Oliver took a deep breath. Miguel, you're leading this fix. Heads snapped around. Mark nearly shouted. What? No. He's not qualified. Oliver cut him off. He's the only one who understood it. He leads. And just like that, the entire office shifted. Respect changed hands.
Ego collapsed.
Control moved. To the man with the accent. The man they underestimated. The Filipino they laughed at. Miguel stepped forward to the command console. Hands steady. Eyes focused. his mind a storm of calculations. For the first time since he entered this company, he wasn't the quiet Filipino in the background. He was the one everyone depended on. And the real battle was only beginning. The morning started like any other, but within minutes, the office erupted in chaos. The UK servers were failing across multiple departments. Systems crashed. Alerts flashed red. Clients called in panic. Every second counted. Every mistake would cost millions. And the team? They were helpless. Mark, the manager who had mocked Miguel's very first day, slammed his hands on the table. We need solutions now. Every second we delay costs money, credibility, and our clients' trust. Engineers scrambled. Fingers were pointed. Blame was tossed around like a hot potato. It's your fault. No, it's yours. Check the logs. Chaos reigned. The system groaned under the weight of errors and misconfigurations. Pause for dramatic effect. Miguel, calm as ever, reviewed the logs. His eyes scanned the system's heartbeat, tracing patterns, detecting anomalies that everyone else had missed. Then he noticed it, a misconfigured patch causing a recursive loop, one that had gone undetected for days. He knew that if corrected quickly, the system could stabilize. If ignored, disaster was inevitable. He raised his hand. Sir, I think I found the problem. But Mark waved him off. Not now. The seniors are handling it. Sit down. Miguel didn't argue. He simply observed. He prepared silently, like a hunter waiting for the right moment to strike. Minutes passed like hours. The crisis deepened. Clients were angry. Investors were calling. The CEO's office demanded updates. The team tried everything, and nothing worked. Sweat dripped from foreheads. Tension filled the room, and the clock ticked louder than any alarm. Minutes passed, and the crisis deepened. The team tried everything they could, but nothing worked. Errors piled up, alarms blared, and the clock ticked louder than ever. Finally, Oliver, the senior engineer, leaned over quietly. Maybe Miguel's right. Let's hear him out. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Miguel, the man they had ridiculed, the one whose accent they had mocked. Miguel explained carefully, step by step, how the recursive loop had formed, why previous attempts to fix it had failed, and how it could be resolved safely. He spoke with authority, yet with calm humility. The team listened. Every engineer leaned in. Even Mark could do nothing but watch. Miguel's expertise was undeniable. His careful analysis and steady voice cut through the panic, guiding the team toward a solution. When Miguel prepared the final command sequence, he knew the stakes. One wrong move would have destroyed hours of work, perhaps even days. His hands moved with precision, and then he pressed enter. Slowly, systems began to stabilize. Monitors stopped flashing red. The network returned to normal. The crisis had been averted. Silence filled the room. Miguel had done what no one else could. Oliver stepped forward, clapping slowly. Miguel, you just saved the entire company. Miguel nodded quietly, accepting the acknowledgement without pride, without showmanship. Liam, who had mocked him the loudest, whispered to himself, humbled. I misjudged him. I was wrong. Mark, the manager who had ridiculed him from the start, could not speak. The team finally understood the truth. Skills and calm determination matter more than words or accents. Miguel had proven that the quiet, patient, and determined person can change the course of events. And even after the immediate crisis ended, Miguel stayed focused, guiding the team to secure every system, verify every process, and prevent further errors. The room that had once been full of mockery now respected him. The man who had been underestimated had not only solved the problem but earned the trust and admiration of everyone in that office. The crisis was over, but the office had changed forever. Miguel's calm, steady approach had not only saved the system but had also transformed the way everyone saw him. The man they had once laughed at, the Filipino whose accent they mocked, had proven his worth beyond any doubt. Oliver, the senior engineer, approached him.
Miguel,
I don't know what to say. You saved us all. Miguel simply nodded. his quiet smile saying more than words ever could. Mark, the manager who had once ridiculed him, stepped forward, eyes downcast. I owe you an apology. I judged you unfairly. I mocked your accent. I was wrong. Miguel's response was simple, humble. It's okay. I only wanted to do my best. Even Liam, the coworker who had laughed the hardest, now asked to learn from him. Miguel spent the rest of the day patiently explaining, teaching, and guiding. The man they had underestimated had become the one they now respected and admired. Weeks later, the office had transformed. Laughter was no longer at Miguel's expense. Respect and admiration filled the room. His story had spread, inspiring other Filipino workers across the company. Miguel had shown that talent, discipline, and quiet determination can overcome doubt, mockery, and prejudice. He had reminded everyone that a person's worth is not measured by how they speak, but by what they can do. And so, Miguel Reyes, the quiet Filipino in London, became more than just an engineer. He became a symbol of skill, of patience, of resilience, and of pride. His journey proved one thing clearly: Filipinos are built different. We rise above the noise, we work tirelessly, and we shine when the moment demands it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to support more inspiring stories like this. Remember, the world may doubt you, mock you, or underestimate you, but your skills, your heart, and your determination will always speak louder than their words. Filipinos are truly built different, and this story is proof. Thank you for watching, and never forget to always believe in yourself, no matter what anyone else thinks.